Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Dear Man. And I have Prissy right here with me. And as promised last week, we bring in back Mr. Fancy, but this time not alone. He is with Mrs. Fancy because it is not good that man should be alone. So he came right here with his gorgeous wife. So, Mr. and Mrs. Fancy, you're welcome to another episode of Dear Man.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really good to have you. So today we came in with all our lesson notes. We came in with our pens, our tablets, and all. We just coming to learn, and that's what I'm here to do with Prissy. And so we're going to set the ball rolling. Now, the reason for this is our story segment is to afford an opportunity to hear from people, from their stories, because sometimes you just see people and you wouldn't know how their love journey has been. And I mean, sometimes you look at a nice lady and a nice guy and you ask yourself, can these people ever argue, or can these people ever have any issue of any sort? So This Is My Story segment is to lay bare, have an unscripted discussion, understand people's journeys, where they've come from, where they're going. And so we're so glad to have you here, Prissy, I guess.
Yeah.
So Prissy is glad as well. Okay, so let's set the ball rolling. So where did you start from? I mean, how did it happen?
You take this one.
Take it.
So actually, which year was it? Actually, to be honest, I don't remember the year, but it's a long time ago. You remember? Okay, so that's 2006. Right. I think that was the university days. Okay, so we both lived in Dansoman. Yeah, so that's how we met. Yeah, so we met in Dansoman, and we're very young and restless. But we never knew that things would come this far, of course. So I think that the hand of the Lord was in it. That's what I can say. So that's how we started. We actually met in Dansoman, but we actually were not the best of friends. You understand? Because I was a friend to her friend, all right, and that's how I got to see her. But then I didn't really like her because she had this attitude. She had this attitude, and I remember there was this there were instances where when I see my friend, that is her friend, and I see her around, I always frown because she's that she just pushes everybody off. She has this attitude and all that. But then as time went on, I don't know, but as time went on, it was we got to interact and get to know each other. We became much closer. You understand? So little did I know that this person that I didn't like that much would actually be the person. So it was a whole lot of drama and all that. And you're young at that age, the drama is intense. So
Wow.
Okay, so basically that's how it started.
Okay. So Mrs. Fancy, at what point did it occur to you that this might be the one? Because usually when you're young and coming, very beautiful lady, you have so many people coming around. I have some people I tease Prissy with that they were all just coming around, blah, blah, blah. But at what point did you really, did it occur to you that this is the guy?
Okay. I can't remember. There was a day, I think that was my birthday. Okay, I was dating them.
Okay.
And then this my then boyfriend, he should have called me on that day, but he didn't call me. But Michael did. He called me on that. I said, wow. I barely know, but
Yeah.
So I was thinking, I said that no, I think this would be a good guy. Okay, so then let me just give him a chance.
Okay.
But he was a stubborn guy. No. Let me just laugh because the small boys, they are some way. So I started going on. We were just talking, and then I noticed something about him. Okay,
Okay.
or Papa is someone else. He's very calm.
Yeah.
He has this vision, like when you are growing up. Okay,
Yeah.
we are naive and all that, but this guy, he speaks so well.
Yeah.
He talks so well. Like he has this vision. So
Yeah.
I just sat down one day and I told my friend, okay, you know what? Let me just go out with this guy. And he said, why? And I said, it's like he has a vision. I need to follow that vision. And she says, vision, what vision? I said, no, I need to follow that because these guys have this, so I don't know how to put it, but he knows so well,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
And then we started along, and then you advised me, do that, and I fell in love with him about that. So yeah, so
Okay.
as time goes on, and he introduced me to his family, one of
Okay.
his brothers, and I
Okay.
said, okay, if that's the case, okay, I'll just study him again because
Yeah.
men and this girlfriend, and all that. So so there was a day
Yeah.
one of his friends told me, do you know Michael loves you very much? And I said, are you sure? He said, yes. Just study him and give him a chance.
Okay.
So that was then. Just studied him, and then I found out he's a good guy and he's calm and all that. Yeah, so
Wow.
that's it.
Wow. I'm not surprised that you were quite amazed by, his depth of knowledge and vision, blah, blah, blah. Because I've known Michael for some time and he reads a lot. And I don't want to go there. Otherwise, you give us the history of all empires, all empires, right?
Built by the whole world. Daniel, don't go there. Don't try Vanel. Don't try Vanel. If you are with Vanel anywhere, just know that you are like
Michael. This interview is about you.
It's about us. It's about us. Okay.
So business. What I'm hearing is take birthdays very serious, very, 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 very serious. The next time someone you are watching is celebrating the birthday, go say happy birthday. That might be your chance, right? Yeah. Prissy, any question?
Okay, so my question is that I think that it's quite an interesting turn of events.
Yeah.
But then I wanted to ask how you were able to get rid of that old relationship and then switch to this one, because I know there are a lot of ladies in bad relationships, but they don't know how to break out of it.
Yeah.
So do you have any tips on that?
Wow, good question.
Well, with the ladies side, I think it's going to handle the ladies side.
Yeah.
For men in bad relationship, for me, I think that when a man is in a relationship, okay, there are some non-negotiables you should list. Okay, regardless of how much you love the person or whatever, you'll be like, okay, if the person is A, B, and C, there's no way I should go ahead with the person. All right. So you can give examples, each one to his own. You understand? But you can give examples. For example, for me, I can't stand a woman who likes to talk back to a man, like always argumentative. All right. Always angry. This is like a woman, like as a feminine person should actually be calmer. You understand? So there are women like that, they like to argue a lot, and they're like very aggressive and all that. You understand? For that one, no matter how pretty you are, no matter how intelligent you are, no matter how much I'm attracted to you, I'm just going to cut you off. And we should have that boldness to cut off such relationships. I think that it shouldn't be too hard, but you shouldn't do it in a rough manner. So you should actually have a plan. Like, it's like people are always having issues in my ex this, and then when we broke up that and all that. But if you can do it, it's not always going to go well, because the person also react in a way. But you should find your own way of breaking off. But if the signs to see to break off a relationship, you have your own non-negotiable. There's some things like, okay, this way, I can handle it. But there should be some things that should be done. You don't go ahead to marry the person. You understand? You don't go ahead to marry the person. So it's like, I'm with you. I like you. You know, we like that. We are moving ahead. We are sharing our future plans together. We want to build a life together. That's fine. But then I realized that perhaps you are this aggressive type. Okay, then it's a red flag. It's a danger for me. But somebody else can handle it. I know some people who are like, they don't mind. Their wives are very loud, and then they're okay with it. That is for them. Okay, so I'm giving myself as an example. Okay, if you're that type of person, it will be very difficult for me to be with you. So when I see that, because I only want to see that in my marriage, because for me, the way I view marriage in the home, my home should be a place I should be able to relax a lot. So even if you ask my wife, she knows I always like to keep my home very clean and very cozy, because that's the only place I can feel comfortable. When I move out from the home, it's a warfare out there. You understand? So in my home, on the battlefield, hustling and stuff like that, and then come home to a loud person. You understand? So for me, I had this thing in my mind. Such a person is a no-go area. Okay, so now you, the man, can actually look at some things and say that, okay, maybe 1, 2 are no good. There may be other traits that are no good, but nobody's perfect, so you can handle those things. But there should be some things that you be like, for me, my personality, I cannot handle such a person. So you see that in a woman and be like, oh, okay, this one, we cannot move forward. Then you find a way of breaking off with such a person. So with the ladies too, how do ladies break off the question with somebody who you think is not the right person?
This question, I don't know. It's really tough, actually. Yeah. But in my own opinion, okay, how to break up with a guy or
who you think is not the right person.
Yeah.
So
I just told you point blank that let's break up. Just block you. That is simple. In a harsh way, actually.
But what will make you break up with the person? Like, why would you break up with the person? What do you see in the person? Be like, no, I don't like this guy. I don't.
A guy who is loud, you see, and a guy who dresses anything low, and a guy who is not. There are some guys when you see them, no, this guy is not good for you,
Yeah.
So we also see qualities in guys that we don't like, actually.
Yeah.
A guy who is God fearing is the best.
Yeah.
Okay, who loves God, yeah. And also a guy who doesn't humanize at all. Doesn't humanize and all that, yeah. So that's it.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. So then my next question is, what are some of the things that spur you on? Because I know that, when people are going into marriage, they have a lot of butterflies. So at that point, it is the butterflies that is pushing them. But at a point, things settle down where real love needs to be at play. In such cases, you should have values or tenets or things that really keep you going. What would you say are some of those things that keep you going? How long have you been married for?
2014.
Okay.
2014.
So that's 9 years. Okay. Almost. And how long have you been going out for? Which I like the most, because
2006 to 2014 was how many years? 8 years.
Yeah.
And then 8 years
plus
and
9, that's 17 years. That is a long time, and that's why I call you very experienced. So what keeps you going on? Because 17 years, that's a long time. Tell us what keeps you going on.
Okay, for me, what I'll say is that I think it's 2 things. Number one, it's love. As you were saying rightly, the real love has to set in. People don't even understand what the concept of love is. They just think it's those butterflies and that feeling, you understand. But love goes beyond feeling. Love is it's not even emotional, you understand. Love is sacrifice. Love is giving. So we can see a good example in John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave. You understand? The scriptures also said that God's only treasure, his precious treasure, was Christ. And he gave the treasure to be sacrificed. You understand? So through the exhibition of true love, or the show of true love, is sacrifice. You understand? So if you love somebody, you don't mind sharing everything you have with the person. You don't hide stuff that, okay, I have, let's say, money, this money I've reserved it for myself, like this thing I have, my wife cannot touch it, or stuff like that. You have to be selfless, very selfless. So then that is sacrifice, and that's the last aspect. I think the most important thing is the growth factor. For me, if I'm going to attribute any success or any longevity, I'll give that to God, because I think that for me, I'll say for myself, I'm a weak human being. I am flesh. I have flaws. But when I go into prayer, I tell God that, God, be the third person in my marriage. God, make me a better person. God, make this thing work. So when it's not going to work, God will come in and try to fix it. When things is about to go south, God comes in and fixes it. So it's like, for me, you see it as 9 years, 17 years, 16 years. But for me, I see it as God. So I don't even count. You understand? Because if you ask me that, me, Fifi, what have you done that you have made your marriage work? Me, I will not say I've done anything. You understand? I will not say I've done anything. The only little thing I've done is to love my wife. You understand that? I love her. I'm willing to, I have the best interest of her at heart. So, it's like, if you love somebody as yourself, okay, if you're wishing for yourself to excel, let's say academically, you also wish the same thing for your spouse. If you wish to be very healthy, you also wish the same thing for your spouse. If you wish anything, like doing excel in a career, you wish the same thing for your spouse. You don't have this sort of, grudges. And also, the little thing I'll say I've done is just to love. And even with that love, I think that it is God that has placed it there. So I think that prayer is a very, very vital thing. And also the word of God, because when I look at, for me, I take the basic commandments concerning marriages. Okay. Now, the first one is that men love your wives, women respect your husbands. And I think that everything is summarized in this place. So for me, to understand what God wants or requires of a man or a husband to do in his word, I understand it. I also understand that through prayer, even if there are attacks, because mind you, people, you may believe it or not believe it, but any marriage is under attack. You understand? God, the devil doesn't like marriages. It's something that is one of the things he hates the most. So you know that if you are married, you are going to have so many attacks on different areas of your life. Now, if you put your marriage into the hands of God, these attacks may come, but God will shield you from all these things. So I think the God factor is the biggest thing for me. You understand? Because for me personally, I don't see myself as somebody having a special set of skills to be able to maintain a long relationship or a long marriage, or like I'm some marriage guru or something, or I'm nothing. I don't see myself as any of those. I'm nothing at all. I just think that it is by the grace of God. So I think that if I would advise anybody who wants longevity, that the person should make prayer. It's and on both sides. It's not just one side. It shouldn't be like the man always praying or the woman. You could be in a relationship or a marriage where, let's say, the man is stubborn, so the man doesn't go to church, or the man doesn't like to pray and all that. You, the woman, can hold the fort for a time, but be praying that the man will also change, because when both of you are praying, that is when things work very well. You understand? It's not just one person holding the fort. You can hold the fort for a while, but then make sure that both of you are in sync and in unison with the mind of God, in prayer. So you commit your everything to God in prayer. God, my marriage, God, come into my marriage, make sure, let it continue going, let it glorify you. You understand? Because in your own word, you said you don't like divorces. In your own word, you also cherish marriages a lot. So if your word has said it, then Baba, come into it, because you are your children. You understand? So for me, it is the biggest factor that spurs us on. That spurs me on. That actually is making the thing working. For me, my side, that's what I can say.
Okay. Mrs. Fanti?
Okay. For me, I can say marriage is sacrifice, and forgiveness.
Right.
And love is hard work.
Yeah.
It's very, very tough. For you to love someone, hard work. You need to work hard. I need to work.
Yeah.
And with a woman, okay, you need to be submissive and all that. Okay.
Yeah.
You need to respect your husband, you need to honor him.
Yeah.
And you know, they won't be doing anywhere if you honor your husband, you respect him, automatically he will love you and he will do anything for you, you know. So in my opinion, yeah, that's what I'll say for now.
Yeah. And I think it's a very critical point. Personally, I think I find a lot of beauty in being respectful. So I see my wife becomes more beautiful to me day by day as she keeps respecting me, and it's not juju like you said. It's not big deal. Yeah. That's a good one. Prissy, you have a question? Apart from, if you don't, I have a very crucial question. So I have a very crucial question, and please go very plain. Has there been a time when your spouse has angered you so much and you go like, where did I bring this one from?
Okay, so for me, okay, for me, is once for all these years, it's just once that we've had this major, issues like talking. So there was this time ago, I think that time my wife was pregnant. So for me, I'll attribute it to the whole my wife was pregnant, and we also had a funeral. All right. So the funeral was with one of our pastors in our church. Lost his spouse and all that, so we had to go there and prepare and all that and stuff like that. So in the process, I met new people, there, the church members, but from a different branch. You understand? So I became a friend with one of the ladies from different branch. Okay, and we've been talking about the digital, using the digital to promote the gospel and stuff like that. So we became like, we shared a lot of ideas and we were talking and stuff like that. But I think, I don't know, somebody, one day we were at the pastor's house, and then somebody was like, went to tell my wife that, you see that lady there, she's talking to your husband, and they're laughing, and they're they're happy and all that, you understand? And so that she would also think that, well, yeah, that's true, because I see them laughing and all that, but it's just because they're talking about something, and then that is something that I think that she just put there, in her mind, like, oh, what is going on here? You understand? So I think there was another time where we're home, but usually I go for walks. You understand? I usually walk in my neighborhood and all that. So my wife just sent me a message, and that message was regarding, she was at home, but I was working, and I think the message was regarding the same girl. And for me knowing that I have nothing to do with the girl, okay, and the tonation that the message came, automatically I got a bit pissed off.
Yeah.
So I just ignored it. All right. And then later that evening I came home. I didn't talk about anything, the message, anything. I tried to ignore it. Okay. Then I think she went ahead to call the lady, and then they started talking that, oh, you shouldn't, and then it became like sort of a quarrel and stuff like that. And the whole quarrel on the phone came to me, who was also in the room, being an innocent boy, and then became, it's serious, and it's like, if I've done something, okay, and you say this and this, I'll not be very aggressive, perhaps the way you go about it, but with what I've done, I'll be like, okay, yeah, I've done it, I should be able to. But if I know I have done nothing, and I've done that, somebody else have, said, so I think it was a bit of a confusion, because what the person had told him and was feeding her was a different thing than what was actually the case. So the issue even became, like a huge argument and stuff like that. I got really, really, really pissed. And as I said, for me, I, as a woman, okay, a woman who is not who becomes loud and behaves that way, it really irritates me. Like, I don't see you like as a woman anymore. You understand? You become something new to me. So at that particular time, I was like, man, what is all that? And even that day around 2 a.m., I actually started packing my stuff because you see, I don't want to get into any fight. It's something I don't want to do anything like throw your hand or beat somebody because it got very heated up that even neighbors who are like next wall and stuff like were hearing that something is going on because the voices was very, very aggressive, seriously. And for me, I didn't like it at all. So I started packing my bag. But the wonderful thing, that so I was waiting for like the morning. I'll just leave, and then that morning, this same pastor that we went to his house actually called me, and he told me that what is going on, and I'm like, about what? And he said when he was praying in the night, he saw that I packed my things and left the house. Have I left? I said no, I've not left. I actually packed my stuff, but I was waiting till morning to leave. And he says, don't leave. So come to my place. All right. So quickly, I said, okay, this man is our spiritual father. Like, we respect him very much. Yeah. So went straight to his place. She also, came there, and then we actually had to talk about this issue. So when these things were being spoken, I think she even got there before me. So they spoke with her, they advised her, and all that. And one of the main things was that she shouldn't actually be listening to, what people will tell her and react. And also, I think my pastor was telling me sometimes when women get pregnant, their hormones act in funny ways. So a little trigger here, a little trigger there, they act and all that. So, that was because many things can happen, but one of the things I don't really like is that loud, disrespectful attitude. And for all this time, it was the very, very first time that thing had ever happened. You understand? And as I said, you see, I talk about the God factor. You see, like, for instance, if I've not prayed to God and say, come into my marriage, and such a thing had happened, he would do it and reveal it to somebody else to call us and to speak to us. We would have happened, capitulated, we go our separate ways, bye-bye, and then, just go back. Provided you put it before God, then God will be like, okay, since this trouble is coming, let me find a way to fix it. So our pastor is praying at midnight, and he just sees me. He said I even packed and left. And I said, no, I've not left, but I actually packed my stuff and was waiting to leave that morning. And he told me to come, and we all went there. And as our our spiritual father, a senior person, somebody who has ministered in the Christ Apostolic Church for decades and all that, we respect him a lot. For me, he's a man that when I even had questions, biblical questions, I had to go to his house and then we talk about it and all that. So I was really honored and also really happy that that happened. And also that also was a sign that, the Lord actually hears our prayers and the Lord's hand is in it. So that was what happened. Wow. That was when I really, really got pissed. I'm like, man, I don't want this at all. So then that was what really happened that year.
There's a great story. I'm picking so many things from it. So Mrs. Fanti, was it the pregnancy? What was it the pregnancy that caused you to? On that pregnancy thing, I know, or I've heard stories about the fact that a lot of ladies also add more to it. Like, yeah, the pregnancy can be causing something, but they also add. Okay,
no, but in some light, I could understand her a little bit because for her, she is very defensive when it comes to such areas. like maybe a girl moving around, or she's always very, the defensive. And sometimes I don't like it because I think that it's overly reacting. You understand? But I think also it's a good thing, yeah, because sometimes you see that, okay, maybe this girl is trying to do something like that. Maybe I've seen it, you understand? But the fact that I've seen it all, doesn't mean that anything you can ignore, because we are human beings. Wherever you go, you are going to find people that will like you in some kind of way. It's normal, you understand? It's normal for people to see you and be like, man, this guy, I like the way he talks or something, you understand?
Yeah.
It's normal. The issue is that when this thing happens, you just ignore it kind of and you move on. But for her, when she just detects anything like that, she just goes like, So when that happened, I was not surprised, but I thought that it was too much. Like, it shouldn't have gone to that extent. You understand? By calling, insulting each other, and then the whole thing exploded. It became like some big issue. For me, I didn't see it as a big issue, but it became a big issue. People were talking about it. Hey, they said this and this, and then they said what? Well, they said somebody's issue is just a one-day issue, and truly to went for the public to solve the issue, cut off.
Yeah. Exactly. So, Mrs. Fanti, at that point, were you going like, who is this guy I've gone to bring into my house? I mean, was there any reaction like that? And before you go, okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Actually, I was taking everything normal because
okay.
I know him. Okay, I know sometimes he reacts and all that, so it's normal to me. I know he will definitely come back. So all that.
Right.
So, at times we separate and then we come back.
Yeah.
After before
marriage.
Yeah. So me, I know definitely he will come back.
Right.
Okay.
Before we got married, there have been instances where we break up, for like a year.
Oh wow.
Sometimes for like more than that too. It's like on and off stuff like that.
That is true love. I mean, if you can go your separate ways and come back, that is when you really, that is where the bond is really
exactly. So everybody be like, now these guys, no, you guys
like can separate them.
We'll not put the two guys again.
Wow. That's a good one. When it comes to, I know the last time we spoke a bit about children and raising children, and children have a way of creating trouble here and there. I mean, children are very smart. And sometimes it puts a lot of stress on the relationship between the husband and the wife. How have you handled children? I mean, especially when you tell them, do this, or don't do this, and then,
Two of them just came in with their...
Exactly, when they are not supposed to,
and they are wearing stuff like masquerade, and they just came here. So I told them, go and handle them. So you're asking how you're able to handle it. It's I think the most challenging thing when it comes to marriage is the children. You understand? At first, it's just both of you guys. So you guys do whatever you like because you want to go on a holiday, you want to go here, you want to do this. You can do it because it's just both of you guys, two adults. But then when children come in, everything changes. You understand? You have to be at a stable place. You have to be at one place because you are thinking about their schooling. You're also thinking about even raising them, the sort of characters or the sort of principles you want to instill into the children, and even how to go about it. You understand? Because I want my children to be this way. I want them to have this kind of philosophy. But that's not enough. How you go about it, you understand? So that also becomes a dilemma. So sometimes there is a bit of trial and error, but it's also good to study first, maybe from people who have done it before. Okay, so you can study from your own experiences whilst growing up. Some things you knew that was passed on to you, or the way you were raised were good. So you can keep those things. And the things that you thought were not good, you can also remove them. And then maybe you can read a book or two. There's no harm in reading over a subject that you're new at. You have kids. Yeah. It's as a woman, you can read about books about motherhood. 1 or 2 books. Just add that to your own little wisdom. As a man, also read a book about fatherhood. Add that to your own, wisdom, and then you as time goes. So I think that it's the stresses that comes with childbearing. All right, it's physiological. It's financial. It's even spiritual. You understand everything like it affects many parts of your life. So then it changes you. It changes you. Yeah, it changes you. It changes the whole marriage structure and everything. So that one also learning from books and stuff, and also an application of wisdom and also proper planning. I think that planning helps a lot. All right, planning helps a lot when you want to plan how you want their education to go. You want to plan how you want their future to be. You want to plan how to take care of them, like financial. Maybe you want them to get at this particular age. You want to leave them this, or you want to push them with this amount of money to do this. All these things, you have to add all those things to your plan. So planning is also very important.
Sorry to cut you, but on that planning bit, let me find out. Mrs. Fanti, did you, before the marriage, settle on how many children you wanted? Or was it Mr. Fanti that decided it? Or you just left it like...
There was no planning, actually,
Okay.
So just coming like that. Just coming.
For me, I wanted to have 4 kids, actually. I wanted to have 4 kids. Yeah. But it wasn't like I'm planning like, okay, this year I want a child. No.
Okay.
Yeah. But that one it keeps coming. Yeah. But before starting to have a kid, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have 4 kids, or stuff like that. But as time goes on, you're pregnant. Okay, you keep going. So it's not as if that we just said, I'm like, okay, you know what? We have this kid, so let's wait 2 years and get the next one. Or let's wait 5 years, and no, nothing like that.
Yeah. So because I think, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, but then once you have the kid, then you have to plan the kid's life.
Yeah.
That is very important.
Yeah, exactly. Very important point. Because when we started out, so we have 2 years in between all our kids, right? But it wasn't like it was planned. We weren't like, okay, before in our relationship, we said we wanted to have 4 kids as well. We also wanted to have 4 kids. But at the point where in the marriage, it wasn't like we're planning, okay, timetable, okay, child 1 come now, child 2 come now. They were just coming. It was more like...
I don't know about those who plan, but I think that sometimes I know of people who claim that they don't want to have this number of kids, or they want to maybe focus on their career first and make the money before starting having kids. And then when they are ready now, the kids are not coming.
Right.
So I think that you should just rather let it flow, because I believe kids are gifts from God. So God will give them to you when He feels you are ready to have them. So I don't personally believe in planning when, but I believe in the number, because you should also not give that too many that you cannot eat and give them quality.
You're like 8 kids. Hey, where was I fast? You're like all over the place. You're like, yeah, daddy, what is it? You're holding you.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. This
okay. Not just plan. And she made a very important point. Some people are like, I want to change my career and then have kids later and all that. That is, sometimes I don't really want to judge people who do that, because it's tricky. You understand?
Yeah.
You know, because that career also can help them financially. Maybe the lady can help her financially. Now, once you stop the career to go and give birth, perhaps maybe the man is not, you know, earning that much or something, or she's not going to get married, and then things don't go up financially. Then how does she take care of the kids and all that? But I think that if both of them come together and have, let's say, a plan that, okay, let's say the man should, they should try and set up something that will actually bring in the sort of fund that can cater for the kids. Also, women have this biological, you know, time clock. Of course, they can give birth to, I think, their 40s or something, but after 35, there's a bit of a problem sometimes, right? Sometimes. So if you can do that before 35, it helps. If you can have your baby before 35, it helps. But you know, the modern world we live in, the responsibilities and the sort of things, the taxes you are paying, the utilities you are paying, the rent you are paying, you know, the transportation of the poor, and then everything you see fee, your Netflix fee and your whatever fee, everything is fee. And then you finish paying all your fees and then everything. So everything is fee. So then everything becomes fee. Then you realize that money becomes an important issue.
Yeah.
You see, last time you were asking me about the older generations and the present generation, even in the West, in America, I know some Americans who are complaining. Now, these are complaints. In the past, okay, the older generation, they had men. A man would be, let's say, working in the factory, or be a mason, or maybe a plumber, okay? But the man will own a house, will own a car, and will have a housewife, and will have about 3 or 4 children, and they're okay. He can buy bread and milk, he can buy food to the home, and they're okay. You understand? In our generation, the world is supposed to be better. Advancements in science and technology, in knowledge, so things should have been better and easier. But then in this generation, we get to a place where when the man alone is working, it's not enough. You understand? So then in most situations, the woman also has to work. You understand? And then leaves the children to the mercy of the teachers at school, and things become a whole lot of, you know. So like in the West America that I know of, actually don't understand it. Like this capitalism thing is like, why is the world supposed to be better? But now things are tougher than it was before. So some people make these choices. I understand them. Those who want to chase career, I understand them. But I think it's not the best. Okay, if you are, especially if you're a lady, I think that you should consider having your kids earlier. You understand? And then if maybe later on you want to get back onto the career horse, you can, you know, get back onto that horse. But then you don't have to wait till like maybe, okay, I've advanced and I'm now, you know, COO, CEO of the company, and then I'm earning 7 figures and I'm earning this, and now I've arrived. So now it's time for me to start giving birth. Maybe at that time you're 40 years. You can give birth to, but the problem you go through, you understand? Hey, that's one. So we have to consider all these things. Yeah.
Wow. Thanks so much for that. Now, if I decide to do what is in my head now, this conversation will continue for the next 5 hours. It will keep going and going and going. But unfortunately, we have to apply the brakes here. However, and I'm asking this out here, and so you can't say no, we will have you again. We will get you guys again here, because we just scratched the surface. And these are things that bring about real gems that people can learn from, real nuggets that people can take a lot of wisdom from in running their lives, their relationships, and their marriages. So thank you so much for honoring our invitation. We'll be knocking at your door again pretty soon. And Mr. and Mrs. Fanti, you agree to come the next time we call you, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So, guys,
you had it today.
Yeah,
so always
heard them. They said they will be here, right? So I can't wait for that as well. So if you've not followed our page, our Facebook page, if you've not followed our YouTube page, I don't know what you're waiting for. I mean, we're here to, like I keep saying, let the world know that there are good marriages out there. There are positive things happening. It's not all doom and gloom. And so we'll keep bringing married people here. We'll keep bringing people here to come share their stories so that we can pick one or two things from there. So thank you for staying with us all through. Go ahead, share the video, get more people to listen to wisdom. Now, the last I checked, you don't pay for sharing. So go ahead and like the page and share the video as well. Thank you so much for staying with us. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Fanti, for being with us. And we sign off on this note. Always remember that no two relationships are the same. Cheers and bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Look at the sources of financial pressures. Now, we've identified two main sources of financial pressure. So the first one being internal, that is internally generated in the marriage, and the one that is without, the externally generated ones. What makes you two happy and not allow the pressure of having to impress everyone have a toll on your marriage? For example, if what you can afford is a single room somewhere, what matters is that you are happy, basically, and not what will my friends say, what will my family say, what would everyone say, apart from what would my spouse say.
Having kids is like having little bosses at home. They control what you do.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to control kids. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not easy to handle them.
Yeah.
It brings a lot of pressure, especially if you are not that used to taking care of